On this week's episode of The Video Store, we welcome back Jim Carrey with open arm mustaches. Frank has a proposition for Josh, and we discuss Avengers Endgame of Thrones. Did you see that, Frank? I created two titles together. It's two titles, and they're part of the same fucking shit. Yes!
I have no comment. You just took my time and did that with it. Welcome to the Video Store Podcast.
We're back.
We're back, yeah. Every week, almost, we review movies and TV shows that we've watched, and we look ahead at what's streaming, on demand, out for rental, and in theaters this upcoming week, and sometimes the previous week. My name is Frank.
This is his co-host, Josh.
Yeah, and sorry if you missed us. I mean, I can't imagine why anyone would, but we took a week off, and we're going to try to repay the fact that you didn't get an hour of podcast last week with a double issue, whatever episode. We're going to cover a lot, and we're going to cover a lot of stuff that you guys care about.
Yeah, fuck balls. We'll see if that clock works out.
Yeah. But we only have two.
False promises.
We only have two trailers in the first part of the podcast, thoughts and trailers. And Josh
We doubled the segment, so it's two instead of one.
Yeah. Josh definitely hates one of these. And it's Velocipastor, which is out TBD. It's about
coming out, being released in your back alley.
Here's the plot summary. After losing his parents, a priest travels to China, where he inherits a mysterious ability that allows him to turn into a dinosaur. At first horrified by his new power, a hooker convinces him to use it to fight crime and ninjas.
I mean, it's never going to be as good as Kung Fury if you ever saw that. That was like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I don't think there's as much production value or coordination. This is just, this is like a Grindhouse trailer that didn't make the Grindhouse trailer, cutting room, and, fully fleshed out in a movie. It even has the Grindhouse type voiceover and the deliberately unfunny.
Yeah, but I can
jokes.
do that.
Yeah, like the deadpan humor. I don't know.
And I can do that too.
I saw the poster and I thought it was funny. Well, you should make a movie, man. You definitely could.
No. I'm going to take two words and I'm going to jam them together.
This might not be as good as,
Mustard Saurus Rex.
As Black Dynamite or Hobo with a Shotgun, but if you like stuff that's so bad it's good, check out the trailer. You might not, want to watch the movie. Josh definitely doesn't, but I think it looks interesting, and it's just the kind of crap that I like. And I'm not going to argue that's not crap.
It's okay. It could be just shit. Look, and I liked Hobo with a Shotgun as well, because that's my boy right there. But yeah, let's talk about the next one, Frank, because I'm over Velocipastor.
Okay, maybe you have more positive things to say about Sonic the Hedgehog, which is going to be out in theaters in November. Described as a cop in the rural town of Green Hills will help Sonic escape the government who is looking to capture him. Very generic. We got James Marsden as the cop described in this, and the villain, Dr. Robotic, is played by Jim Carrey.
Which is perfect.
Yeah, it's his first mainstream role in a long time.
Exactly, and that is what I am most happy about. And he just looks so fitting to this role. It just looks like, boom, he's back, baby. I love Jim Carrey to death. Probably anything of my life is based off of watching him as I grew up. So I know he's had a pretty crazy fucking life led after some certain highs and lows, but he looks perfect for this, and I really don't care if the movie's any bit of shitty or not. Just seeing him get into a character role and look like he's having fun is exciting for me. So
yeah, I mean, this movie looks ridiculous, but it could be this year's Venom. And in fact, we were watching the trailer at my work and someone said that as like a negative thing. And I was like, oh no, I agree with you. And that's why I really want to see this movie. And it's a weird series of events. They have this IP that they're kicking around in Sonic that they see, similar properties do pretty well and make some money. And I
think Detective Pikachu is going to kill it. And this kind of looks like that in a way.
Detective Pikachu has much better production value from the looks of the trailer and seems to be more thought out and have some some creative minds behind it. This is just throwing Sonic into like what the Garfield movie and the Smurf movies is just like throw him in this live action situation that's very generic.
Yeah, pretty much. It is. There's nothing about the story that seems interesting. It's really just seeing what they do with the old Sonic character, and really just seeing how Jim Carrey embodies the evil villain, Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, and I actually like how you're going into it. You're going to it as I want to see this Jim Carrey movie, where most people are just like, this has, took a dump on my childhood, and I'm
good.
Upset.
Let it dump all over your childhood. Yeah. Jim Carrey's back, and go fuck yourself.
I don't really know what a good Sonic movie would look like. It might actually be worse if they tried to make a cool Sonic movie. Like what? Yeah. I don't understand.
What would a good Sonic story like? Does Tails show up and it turns into like fucking Transformers with Linkin Park music and fucking Michael Bay and it's. I don't know.
I just thought Sonic was fun because it fit the speed of like my sugar rushed, like ADHD childhood. Like that's it. I didn't really care much about the world. I know there's a comic series. Like my nephew was like really into the comics.
Mm-hmm. And I used to watch the cartoon a lot. The Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon was really sweet.
That was good. Okay, yeah, because we're like half a generation apart, so Sonic might mean different things to us. Moving on.
I had a Sega Genesis. Fuck, man.
I had a Sega Genesis as well.
Yeah, I played the fuck out. Dude. Oh man, we could get into it right now. But you ever play Chameleon Kid?
No, I don't think.
Oh, it's fucking crazy. It's like a whole different version of Sonic where you put on different masks and it give you different powers. It was one of the greatest games. Anyways.
That's dope. I will say that I always supported the Sega systems, and they always died in early death, but I was so stubborn.
I had a Dreamcast. I had a Game Gear. I was super stubborn too, man. I had them all.
I had a Saturn, had a Dreamcast. Yeah.
Saturn was the only one I think I didn't get, and I was pissed. But that first game they released with the dude and the chick, and it was kind of a Joker or whatever.
Yeah, what was that?
I know.
Jet Grind Radio was awesome. I loved it on that. And then I also even had the Sega Gear, like the handheld thing.
That's why I said the Sega Game Gear.
Is that what it was called, the Game Gear? I had the fucking attachment. It was like a giant antenna so you could watch TV on it. And I would like watch Monday Night Football.
I had Sonic on that motherfucker. And I think Outrun, which was like a fucking racing games type.
What? We are a podcast where two white guys like rap nostalgic over the things they care about. What are we doing right now? Just being like every other podcast. But no, Sega was the shit. And I like Nintendo too, but I was probably like 60% a Sega kid, 40% Nintendo kid. Yeah, no,
Sega was the real deal. Toy Story game came out on that. I spent like $50 on that, dude. It was all my birthday money. Wasn't really worth it. But hey, what are you going to do? They're not all winners.
True. Let's talk about a television show. We rarely do this, but, we don't watch a lot of TV. We do. The Long Night, the latest Game of Thrones episode, pretty polarizing. You've seen all the Game of Thrones episodes, right? I think
I have now, but I'm not as gung-ho like fucking Game of Thrones is the best thing I've ever fucking seen in my life.
I think it has potential to be like top 5 show all time. I really enjoy it. I've seen every episode at least once. Maybe a couple of the early seasons I've seen twice. I haven't read any of the books. What?
No.
Yeah, for me, I like... So we won't get too far into like the overall opinion of Game of Thrones, but I like, at least for the first 6 seasons especially, their characters like were well developed and they did things that made sense for that character that didn't always were in the best interest of the show in the traditional sense. Where most television shows just write the story into keeping people alive forever or like orchestrating these moments. There were a lot of things that happened that weren't convenient. A lot of fan favorites died, and I appreciate that. I think it fell apart recently, but this previous episode I really dug. I think what I read online, a lot of people's expectations were off, and I don't know where they came from. But I thought,
I don't know.
I expected
had no expectations. If you go in, no expectations.
Yeah, spoilers, by the way. I expected everything to be resolved in the dead versus living in this episode.
See, I didn't know.
I thought maybe the dead would wipe out some people and they'd run back to Cersei and try to team up to them. That was an option, or I thought they would wipe them out.
In its entirety.
Yeah.
So I just knew that it was a battle episode, and I didn't know how long it was or whatever, and actually that kind of fucked me because I got home late and I had to watch it until like 1 o'clock. I was so pissed. Anyways, I didn't have a real issue with it, but I did not like the fact that they did resolve the storyline kind of in one episode where it was this prolonged building storyline. The Night fucking King, he's coming, he's going to fuck shit up all fucking season after season after season. This is a storyline. And then it's just all kind of wrapped up in one episode. And that was kind of a little, I thought they were going to maybe Avengers this bitch and maybe do a two-parter where they leave them even more hope and bleak and in the end, and then shit happens. You have to wait a week to find out how they survive and that kind of shit, and then break into something else. I mean, I don't have a problem with resolution. Just seemed like I was a little surprised. They were like, oh, that's over now. And beyond that, the only other issue I had is the White Walkers did fucking nothing, dude. They just hung out. What did they do? They're like, we're going to fucking kill the White Walkers. That'll take out the dead. Cool plan. But they decided to hang out and eat potato chips with the Night King. Like,
well,
that
they
was
were
the
arrogant.
weirdest
That's
thing.
kind of been their MO. Like,
If they were arrogant, they would have went in there and like been like torturing bitches or some shit.
no,
But
they kind of like sit and watch. If you've seen previous like interactions, they kind of like they stand at the top of the mountain and watch. Let the whites do the thing, or the White Walkers.
They literally had no opportunity to execute that plan of like, hey, let's kill those dudes because if we get the 10 of them, that kills the 100,000 of them or what have you. But
are you talking about like?
What's that? If you kill a White Walker, it's everyone they turn.
Yeah. They kind of, in the previous episode, Jon Snow said, we have to kill the Night King, his theory, which turned out to be true.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. And he was correct in that was their only hope because they were outnumbered. That happened
when they killed a White Walker, somewhere else when they were up in one of the previous episodes last season. So that was kind of the, oh shit, that's kind of our plan of attack type deal.
Yeah, and I feel most things, and we'll get to this with Avengers Endgame in a little bit, when most things are built up to this extent, they're going to disappoint about half the people anyway. Because you've created this like amazing world building feat, and you have these amazing characters that people care so much about, and you did a good job. But some people take ownership over that stuff, which I think is unhealthy, and it's just going to set yourself up for disappointment.
They expect what they want.
Entitled, for specific things.
You don't realize it's someone else telling the story, and you're not always going to get what you want.
And if you don't like the execution, that's fair. Like, I'm not saying we should just like everything because it's popular. I don't feel that way. But I feel like, you got to put your expectations aside and say, understand why they did it. And once all the armies, except for Cersei and the Golden Army and all that stuff, teamed up and they all centered the fight in one spot, that's kind of what I expected, Like, I didn't think... when you look at how powerful the White Walkers were, the dead were, they were going to plow through. This is going to be a quick battle because it had to be that way. Like, their defenses weren't going to hold up. And they even, like, the way they explained to me is like, we're going to try to hold court and then take a shot at the Night King. That's our only hope. And that's exactly what happened. Also, I mean, it's one of the few things where I didn't really look at it with a super critical eye because I thought, like, there was so much going on, and I love that it was all battle. And I heard a lot of complaints that there wasn't enough battle, but it was almost in real time. Of battle. Exactly,
it was like you were living through the battle. I would agree. So I got a couple hangups. Let me go with one. They treated the fucking Dothraki like they were the fucking black people of the 1940s or some shit. What the fuck is that, dude? You're gonna send them all in. You're like, they're gonna all fucking die. Mm-hmm. But they just sent them in. And they're like, "Don't worry about it. Just go. Why not? Why did you even send that first wave when
that was kind of like their fighting style, though? Isn't that how they always fought? Like in previous episodes, they just run through stuff like that, but they always were successful.
I mean, I guess, but
they could say they were sacrificial lamb,
or they were being led by Captain Friendzone, whatever his name is, Beaumont, whatever the fuck.
Yeah. I did think it was a good effect how when they lit up the swords, that was dope. Dude,
the visuals were fucking...
And then using that to have really them all go extinguished, that was cool. That was... Maybe they were so in love with that idea that they, didn't think logically. And also, that's another thing. I think... Okay, in retrospect, there's actually clickbait articles. There's articles about how military strategists tell the people why this plan was all wrong. But yeah, this takes place
Really?
a long time ago.
Did you read these like that's clickbaity as fuck? Right
I don't
there,
read them.
dude.
I just hear people talking about them. I'm not supporting that shit.
No one gives a fuck about any of that. As far as the battle, yeah, they could have been a little bit more strategic in a sense of some different types of traps or building, some larger fucking hole, some type of situation to benefit them beyond just hanging out, standing there. But again, I didn't look that far into it when I watched it, and it was just a fun watch. I think Theon Greyjoy's situation was my least favorite, just because it seemed almost dumb.
Yeah, I mean, he got his redemption. I mean, that was the point, is that like he ran from everything, and then finally he just knew like he had no hope, but he still, just to give Bran like more time, he kind of redeemed himself his way. And I thought
Bran
also
didn't do shit.
It
what
also
the fuck
set
was
up
his deal?
Well, that's his thing, dude. I mean, if you're paying attention to his thing. But I thought it also, Theon set up the fact that it made the Night King so cocky, that he didn't even like when Arya, approached him.
And how the fuck did she
her.
get out there?
She's a fucking ninja, bro.
I know, but if you're a ninja, who the fuck yells before you go to stab somebody? That was my only issue with it. Look, again, I'm just being nitpicky. I
think that's just adrenaline. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that is super nitpicky.
Still completely enjoyed the episode. Have no issues, but I'm gonna be devil's advocate here.
Yeah, I would say like I was just so on the edge of my seat, wondering who's going to live and die for the majority of it, and then it was just such a satisfying scene, because I love Arya Stark is maybe my favorite character in all of fiction.
She got some, and then she got some.
Yeah, I love her build up. I just think she's an amazing character, and usually the people I root for, think Carl in Walking Dead, never get their due. And from the very beginning, I was like, she's going to be an awesome character. And the fact that she got to be the one I rewound that scene. It was like
okay, when you have total spoiled this. I mean, I guess I didn't do as bad of a job, but you have spoiled this hard.
Yeah, I'll put a warning on there. But it was like one of my sports teams won a championship. That's how excited I was.
Fuck yeah! No, I get it.
Exactly.
And honestly, I had a better moment with that than I did in Avengers, which we'll get into. I mean, it's still an amazing ride, whatever. But let's talk about what we watched, Frank. We can't get this deep in the thrones. We can't do it. We can just say we both enjoyed it. Other people's expectations generally probably fuck shit up for them, and don't overthink it.
Yeah. So I had upset stomach another weekend, another food poisoning for your boy, and Great. I really couldn't think of much to watch. And I'm curious about Beyonce.
As he tries to preface why he watched a film by Beyonce.
I'll tell you why, because I know she's extremely popular. I just checked out of Beyonce like a decade ago. I don't know. I was curious, and I heard it was a really well done film. And this is a Netflix. It's a Netflix exclusive. It's described on IMDb as an intimate, in-depth look at Beyonce's celebrated 2018 Coachella performance that reveals the emotional road from the creative concept to the cultural movement. Yeah. Very well done concert film. It's so good that, like, someone like me. Thank you for that. It's interesting if you're not a Beyonce fan like me, you just like, good concert movies. It was effective there. But if you're any fan of Beyonce, you have to see this movie. It's really well done.
If you love the Queen.
So it's a take it or leave it for me, just because you have to either be a fan of her or concert films. It's not for like a casual person. You might be bored with it. But I thought it was really interesting. And I'm glad I checked it out.
All right, for Beyonce maniacs.
Yeah. Now, The Proposition, which you can see on Amazon Prime, is a movie I've heard about forever. You probably told me to watch this.
I think it came out when we worked at Blockbuster. It's like Guy Pearce or somebody in it.
2005, like in the prime of when I was watching 5 movies a week. I don't know why I missed it. The summary on this one is a lawman apprehends a notorious outlaw and gives him 9 days to kill his older brother, or else he'll execute his younger brother. This is a Western that takes place in Australia, and it is fucking awesome. Just
who's the star?
Guy Pearce plays the middle brother.
Pierce.
Yeah,
okay,
Ray Winstone, who went on to like be in Departed and a bunch of other stuff. He is the Captain Stanley. He's like the sheriff basically. He's the deciding policeman that comes under a lot of scrutiny for his decision. And then Danny Hudson like scruffs it up, and he plays the older brother who has to be sacrificed to save the younger brother.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. This is a great movie. I don't think it gets enough credit. for being one of the best Westerns in the modern era. It is that good. The violence isn't gratuitous. It is fucking gut-wrenching. Like, you care about these characters, and the storyline is executed so well. Just everything. Pacing, the violence and effects, the acting.
I love modern Westerns.
All top notch. Yeah, and I hold the old ones up too, but I mean, this ain't like no.
They're okay, but I just love it in HD.
If you like 310 to Yuma, stuff like that, not like Magnificent Seven or some bullshit or Wild Wild West.
No. The real fucking, and yes, 310 to Yuma. Ben Foster is always one of my favorite crazy fucking cowboys.
This is somewhere in between like that and like Bone Tomahawk. It's not total gore, but the gore is there, and dude, it's so fucking good. If you like Red Dead Redemption, like, you'll love the Proposition. Watch this movie if you're like me and you were dumb, and it's definitely an employee pick for me. If you're dumb and you took a decade and have to watch it, or if you haven't seen it in a while, rewatch it. It holds up. It's excellent. Yes. What?
Frank is providing a proposition to you folks.
Oh my god. Fucking dad jokes. Go ahead and tell me about the Prodigy.
The Prodigy. We talked about this some time ago, right? On the trailer segment of the little metronome back and forth and the good scare moment in the trailer. You remember that? Do you?
Yeah, I remember that. It was a really good jump scare, but I was dubious of if there was a movie behind it.
I remember. So this is about a mother concerned about her young son's disturbing behavior, thinks something supernatural may be affecting him. I don't know why I went on a roller coaster of vocal cords, but that was just fun. So generally not a super satisfying watch. The jump scare and its inclusion in the storyline sucked. It was a dream. It was a fucking dream, Frank. And they just cut scene out of it. And it's like, why does this even exist? So it's more of a possession type storyline where the kid is the same time he's born and some crazy dude dies, his soul somehow ends up in this kid. So he's kind of slowly taking over the kid's body while she tries to do something about it and makes really terrible decisions. All in all, just really fucking stupid shit. The kid sucked, not very scary, and it's a time filler. So
you're like, I could have did worse things with my time. How was Sarah Bloom, the girl from, Taylor Schilling, who played Sarah Bloom, the girl from Orange Is the New Black?
Made these dumbass fucking decisions. These were terrible decisions.
But could you see her? Is she like movie caliber, or is she just going to do stuff like this? Maybe like B movies?
I would watch her in something with a better story, and I don't feel like she was out of place or didn't try her best to make this better. I feel like the kids sucked most of all. It's just overall weak as far as what it was trying to accomplish. Yeah, I think if anything, she was probably the best part of the movie. So yeah, I'm still okay with her.
Gotcha. And that's out for digital rental, VOD type stuff right now. 2013. We've talked about this. This is like the day I was like in prison or something. I missed all of the good movies of 2013. And,
Frank was butt raped in 2013.
Well, I could have butt sex and watch movies at the same time, actually. So that's not a good enough excuse.
That's good to know.
Anyway, there's this film called Joe. It's directed by David Gordon Green, who's done some cool stuff, most notably with like Seth Rogen. He did the recent Halloween movie. So he has a lot of range. He did 50-50, I believe, too.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember that.
And then he's also done like some straight up comedies like Vice Principals. He's responsible for that. Pineapple Express, Your Highness.
Oh, yes. I love Your Highness. Best fucking medieval fucking movie ever.
He also does really good dramas. So I think very underrated as a modern director for his range, for sure. And it stars Nicolas Cage, and David Gordon Green does a really good job of taming Nicolas Cage and using his strengths wisely. Like, he does wild out sometimes.
Dead stares?
Yes. It also has a very young and green Ty Sheridan in it. And Joe is about an ex-con the Nicolas Cage character named Joe, who's the unlikeliest of role models. He meets a 15-year-old boy played by Ty Sheridan and is faced with the choice of redemption or ruin. So they hint at Joe's past. He has anger issues for sure. He can't really live a normal life. He has this job where he brings a lot of dudes together, and they poison trees and cut
together.
Yeah, he has a bunch of guys like Outcast 2 that probably can't succeed in normal society and get a normal job, but he's a fair boss. He's got this crew that takes down trees and poisons them so they can fill the forest with more trees that they can sell, more lucrative trees. Either for wood or whatever. Yeah.
Who the fuck gets that idea? Let's murder trees to make more trees.
Yeah, well, it's based on a book. So, whenever there's a book, especially about the Pacific Northwest or something like that in America, they have, there's a job.
Hey guys, fuck these trees.
And I'm sure in the book that there's probably some sort of symbolism for that isn't really covered too much in the movie. The movie's more about Nicolas Cage's character, who really just lives a life that's just about doing that job so he can buy booze and buy sex and just survive and try not to hulk out and kill people. He then enters this kid, Gary, played by Ty Sheridan, whose dad is a complete abusive piece of shit, alcoholic, thief, murderer, and the kid is just there, and he
hates puppies.
Yeah, probably. The kid's there mainly to protect his younger sister and his mother. He could make it on his own. He's got a great work ethic. He's
I got you.
Despite
He's protecting the thing.
Yeah, despite his upbringing, he does stand up to bullies and violence, and he's just determined to do something. And he runs into Joe, and they bond over the fact that they're both made something out of themselves despite being outcast in society. So the chemistry between these two is fantastic. The story is just a really good drama that isn't melodramatic, doesn't exploit the characters. Everything that plays out makes sense. They're not trying to just pull a Hallmark moment out of this thing. And Nicolas Cage is excellent, man. This is one.
It's weird when he occasionally still has it.
Yeah,
but the homie just cashes checks.
He does work hard. He does a lot of movies, and he'll pretty much do anything. And there's some good articles that explain his style and what he's trying to do with those roles. But
Meth?
This is an example of that. This guy still has a lot of talent, and there's a reason why he was at one of the biggest actors. Just like we talk about, guys like Mel Gibson or Kurt Russell that just go away and then come back, and they still have that fastball, man.
For sure. Hey, man, no doubt that he still got it.
Yeah. And this movie reminds you why we loved Nicolas Cage, and and why we should pay attention to David Gordon Green more. It's another employee pick for me. If you love movies, you're going to love this movie. It's everything that a good drama should be about.
Boom. Mic drop.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
All right. Follow that up with your review of What Men Want.
Oh, that's weak.
I know.
That's weak. What?
You scheduled this.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I didn't know fucking Joe was going to be your fucking dick hard movie.
So good. So good.
So anyways, another filler spot for me as I had no real time to commit to actual watching things that I liked. I fill my time with garbage.
Yeah.
I watched What Men Want, kind of, for the most part. A woman is boxed out by the male sports agents in her profession, but gains an unexpected edge over them when she develops the ability to hear men's thoughts. As we all know, Mel Gibson did it best when he did it with What Women Want, and this is not a follow-up in any format to that, based on the same idea. And terribly done overall. Really, the shining light for this movie for me is Tracy Morgan and listening to his thoughts. Because I just feel for hours on end, if there was a Tracy Morgan's Thoughts podcast where he just recorded everything he ever fucking said or thought about, I could just listen to that forever.
Yeah, he's one of the most naturally funny humans ever.
He's just it's too good. So really, for that, that was amazing. All in all, the movie itself had minimal heart and weak direction, and all in all, just when somebody's firing a giant gun and just a little firecracker comes out. I feel like that was kind of a representation for this movie. Although Tracy Morgan, just go do good stuff, because you're like, his ability, if given the right material and also his creative direction, can make some really good stuff.
Well, there's that show, The OG. Have you seen that?
For some reason, I have not. And I probably
don't know what channel TBS is, because no one does.
Oh, that's probably fair too. But I have heard of the show.
It's probably something that would gain an audience if it goes to Hulu or Netflix.
Right, Amazon Prime or some shit like that. But all in all, don't waste your time here unless you just love Tracy Morgan and want to know what he thinks about on a daily basis, which is amazing.
Fair. So thanks for warning us, man. Taking one for the team. I finally saw Roma. I don't know why I waited so long.
It's okay. I'm still waiting, Frank.
Yeah, I don't know if you're not going to watch that one, because I know you don't shy from stuff like this. It's Alfonso Cuarón's latest movie. A director
just lazy, and I'd have to be in a specific mood. And
I have to be in a mood for these like melodramas.
Title doesn't do it for me either.
Yeah. Beautifully shot. It's about the year in the life of a middle class family's maid in Mexico City during the early 1970s. This is supposed to be like a love letter to the maid nanny in his life and the impact she had. It's beautifully shot. It tries. I really feel like it fails as a portrait of this maid. It just doesn't really seem like it's focused on her. It's like she's like always kind of in the distance. Like the movie's very distant from her, if that makes sense. Like it just doesn't feel connected to the character. And they do pull together some great moments, and there's an end scene in the movie.
Like filthy rich white people like shot this movie about a poor Mexican maid or something?
Similar to when they do movies like The Help or stuff like that, where it's like, this movie's about how white people ended, racism. Like these, those movies where it's like, these black people succeeded and did something amazing, but they had to have that one white guy or white lady to help them out. That one,
thankfully, they were there to support him. Otherwise, he would have been a failure.
And it was a mixed race family that she.
And what's with all the chicken?
Yeah, I don't know what you're going there, but it's kind of like that same kind of sentiment or like The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, where it's like you're trying to make a point, but you're
do you even care about the movie you're making?
I think they do care. I think it's just out of touch. I think it's out of touch.
Just that, and they have no real perspective, and just kind of they read this and they're like, this sounds good, but so let's do this. But they don't really know the heart and the story and the soul that needs to be captured. Yeah, that kind of shit.
Which makes sense when you think about what it is. It's a movie, a tribute from an older man of his memory as a child to a person, that was like family to him, to a woman that helped him out. So it makes sense that it would be fuzzy and it would be kind of distant, like almost like a dream, like a fading memory that you're trying to capture, a story that you're telling just so you don't forget it.
It sounds like a terrible way to fucking tell a movie, show a movie.
But
it's like, I kind of recall going down the stairs and getting my cat. No, it was a dog.
It is coherent. It's just like, the character is just not, it doesn't connect with the character in the way I think it wants to. But the filmmaking, if you just appreciate masterclass filmmaking, like
cinematography.
Like I truly believe, at least my taste, if the cinematography is interesting and great, like I will keep watching something just because it looks good and it's, the way it's strung together from scene to scene, is really well done. It's a good movie to watch, but I just felt kind of hollow at the end. Like I didn't really know this character. I didn't, I know what happened to her, but I didn't like feel for her. And I feel like a movie like this is trying to do that. So, I gave it a pretty good review, like good score, but I think it's a take it or leave it for what you said earlier. Like you have to be in a mood to see these things. And I don't think it's a transcendent best picture of the year. It's not even in my top 20 for last year.
Boom. Mike super fucking dropped on Roma in the toilet. Flush it.
Please tell me you have something good to say about bonding.
Did you hear do you know anything about this?
I looked at it when we did one of our weekly write-ups, but I may have just watched a trailer. Whatever I saw, I forgot, though.
Okay, so it's on Netflix. Pretty short episodes, only about 17-minute episodes, maybe 8 to 10 of those guys. So it's pretty easy to run this one through really quick and just see what you think. It's about a New York City grad student moonlighting as a dominatrix, and she enlists her gay best friend from high school to be her assistant. It's quirky and obviously, light bondage humor in senses. I don't think it gets too dark in those realms. Sometimes it does drop some emotional notes on you because there is some drama happening to some extent, some emotional tension from her. Basically, she's just distanced herself. You know what? I'm not even going to do a good job of explaining her emotional perspective, so I'm not going to try. It's not even going to try. But it's an interesting relationship between her and her best friend, who she relies on, yet also needs to be in control of everything, and sometimes needs support, but never fucking wants it, while trying to just find her. I don't know. It's an interesting one for sure, and I'm probably going way off base here, but it's a fun, lighthearted dramedy.
Okay.
Dramedy. I'm going to make up words. So if you're looking for some filler time and something that's just interesting and different, this is a cute show that I can say would fill that gap. I would even go as far as employee pick just because it's different. It's interesting. And there's a dude that dresses up like a penguin, and he's like, hey, you wear this penguin suit.
So you thought the tone, do you thought the tone, my concern with it was like what The Dirt did this is like they handle these topics, but they have this like Netflix gloss on things where it just like makes things too silly and unrealistic. Like,
yeah, I mean, you could say that may exist, but if you're okay and enjoy the characters, I think you can disregard it if you feel that way.
I guess what I'm asking is like,
come on, the life of a dominatrix is probably not this happy and appealing at some points or funny.
Gotcha. That's what I'm asking. Like, if it was on a network, what network would it be on? TBS? Is it getting a TBS NBC vibe, or are you getting like?
It could be on Showtime.
Okay. I'm more interested then. And like, it's definitely like
not TBS. Definitely not made for TV. And I'm not just because of the sex aspect. I would just say it's more of, definitely more Showtime, Cinemax, something.
Cool. Did you think it was sex positive? Like it didn't like.
I think
trivialize these characters or like make fun of them, exploit them.
I mean, some situations were meant to, funny to be funny. You got
to make certain jokes, yeah.
Right, like there's a couple where the husband likes to be tickled, and the mom and the wife likes punching people. Mm-hmm. So she would tickle him until she felt like punching him, and then it was a mutual thing that they enjoyed. So I mean, it's cute at points. I don't feel like it belittles the situation and maybe shed some light of that world existing, and not too much so. But you got to know that there are people out there and they're interested in weird shit.
Cool. Very interesting.
Mic drop.
All right. So now we're going to get to the main event. Those are things we watched. We also watched Avengers Endgame. I watched it twice so far, and I will recommend that.
Go fuck yourself.
You might feel differently after you've seen it twice. Not as a brag. But before we get into this, I guess just for context, overall, how do you feel about the Marvel movies and specifically the Avengers movies? Like, how much of a fan are you?
I like the Avengers movies. I think there was, at some point in time in the start of the Marvel world, everything seemed like it was based in reality. Like, Iron Man could totally exist. Captain America. There was a couple things that seemed like they could have absolutely still been based in a reality format. And then at some point they went super fucking space, and Guardians of the Galaxy and all these alternate dimensions, reality, all that shit. So I don't have any issue with that. I feel like some movies were kind of filler space and added things that they wanted to coordinate this ladder puzzle between all of the movies, that they would drop certain things in these movies, little Easter eggs, to try and like let people follow the overall storyline. But was it necessary? Not particularly. I think there was a lot of great casting choices made throughout the series. I don't know. All in all, I'm okay with it, and I think everybody for the most part did a pretty fantastic job. I like certain characters they brought in. Loved that when they did Doctor Strange, I think was great. I feel Tom Holland's really killed it and brought a new element to Spider-Man. Since we've had like 16 fucking Spider-Mans, it's nice to see one that looks like he could stick around for a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's important to know where we're coming from, and I agree with you in the most part. I will add, I was a bigger fan of Guardians and Thor Ragnarok
Fuck yeah. Well, Guardians was just fantastic. And the callbacks to Guardians were fucking fantastic. Because, hey, what's the matter with you? And he's doing the thing, and it's no longer the intro part. I fucking love that.
Yeah, so, and then I'll add, just so we know, like, if you guys haven't listened to previous podcasts when I was doing them with Matt, we dived into all these Marvel movies. My main beef with these was that the ones that took themselves so serious, but yet they were so safe, like, no one was ever going to die.
The safeness does suck.
Yeah, and it didn't take a lot of risks. So I was going into this, 1 foot
assuming
in,
the same things.
1 foot, I was like, this is their chance. And so my first viewing, I'll go through that with that. I didn't know what to expect. And when you watch these movies, like, you're so hypersensitive to this stuff. And especially these big budget tentpole movies, because this is like, this movie
they just spent like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on this bitch.
This is
you expect it to be like amazing for your $15.
For sure. It's 2019. This is the defining movie of the decade. This is the biggest movie of this decade. For better or for worse, this will probably be, if there's any movie that's remembered for this decade, it's this movie or the last two. It's an important part of movie history. So I look at it, especially the first time around, with like even more of a critical eye. And my first thought overall was that I really appreciated what they were doing. They finally tried something different. They fucked with people's expectations. We're going to talk spoilers because it's been like over a week since it came out.
You can turn this off now and start back in about
if you go watch the movie if you can. But how they opened it with the Hawkeye stuff, I thought was awesome. I really dug that. I just like fucking with people's expectations, and the Thanos scene. Holy shit! Like what they do to Thanos in the first 10 minutes. I was like, fuck yes. Just because I wanted to be in this theater with a bunch of people with that what the fuck energy. Because I went opening night, so no one knew anything. And then when they flash...
Well, they have screenings, Franks. There are people that knew things.
That's true. You could read spoilers if you wanted to. But anyone that's shown up opening night didn't read those spoilers, I would assume. But when they flashed the 5 years later, I fucking loved it, dude. I was like, yes, let's go.
Time jump. Totally cool. No qualms with that. Not everyone's got to change their fucking haircut just because 5 years have passed.
It's a cheap way of showing that, but I mean, my man Thor changed more than his haircut.
God, he is the dude, and he is all that embodies greatness in this movie. His lines are like so perfect and delivered so well. Just, it's Jay, this my old flame. Yeah, we used to see each other.
Dude,
everything about Thor, I think, was so fucking good. I mean, it was a little over the top at points in the initial introduction, but he was just this perfect, wacky version of himself, distraught, and he was so over the top with it. It was fun. How did you feel about the Mark Ruffalo situation?
I thought that was interesting. I like what they've done with both those characters, because especially Thor was just just a brooding, one-dimensional character, just like, muscles basically, and
he was just an emotional wreck of a man that was just this little boy at this point, just suffering and being emo. It was great.
Yeah. It's like the more they let Hemsworth get out of that character, I think he's excelled and he's become the most interesting of the Avengers. Just the depth of that and the vulnerability of he's a god and he's been around for 1,000 years, but he's just like us, and it just played to his strengths. And I'm really looking forward to what I assume will be his involvement in Guardians 3 and just the back and forth with him and Chris Pratt. So, yeah, I love that.
They're fucking great.
But, it's Robert Downey Jr.'s movie more than anyone's. 1A to Chris Evans' 1B. And just a reminder that, this guy is who got the whole thing started. Favreau had a fight to get him to be on Iron Man. And it was this and Christian Bale's Batman was the example of get great actors to be in these movies, get great directors, and we can change the expectations. Because it's not only that the special effects caught up to these movies, that why they're so good, is if you put talented people behind these characters, you can make great stuff. And
no, absolutely. It's the only reason I watched Suicide Squad. Will Smith was great as Deadshot. And now he's out, by the way, which sucks.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, man, I really dug that. I thought Robert Downey Jr. fucking killed it. he carried that movie partially, but I mean, he carried the heaviest of the loads there. And his interactions with Nebula was funny. Just every joke, everything landed perfectly for him.
Oh yeah, I love the opening. The opening was so great. You now have a point. We are tied. You have won.
Yeah,
good game.
Every scene, dude. He will allow people. He doesn't hog the spotlight, but he's there, man. And his performance from start to finish was amazing. I thought everyone did a great job. Think about Chris Evans and the movies he used to do before he got Captain America, and how he was like kind of just this bro. He almost like, was like should have had blonde hair based on the roles he got. He was like kind of the dumb blonde guy, but the brunette version.
Yeah, he was like the Paul Walker almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Did it take you a moment to digest that?
Yeah, I was thinking that, and I was like, I don't know if I want to bring up Paul Walker.
Look, I'm not saying Paul Walker's a bad dude or that, it's not terrible what happened to him, but I think it's okay to say that, Paul Walker was a fucking bro out of Blue or whatever the fuck, and he's been a bro in a lot of movies, and the only one that I think you and I both loved was Running Scared was fucking fire. Exactly.
Well, yeah, who knows? Paul Walker could have been in the MCU at some point.
Dude, honestly, totally feasible.
So yeah, I thought all the actors, I thought, Scarlett Johansson finally got like some space to like do some stuff with her character. I thought that was fantastic. Brie Larson was charming again. I mean, she kind of felt shoehorned in. I still think she feels like, I don't know, out of place. She just felt different than everyone else, in a way. And I like that they let it sit in the sorrow for a little bit. Like they fucked with the expectations, and then they really brought you down, and it made the final part of the movie all the better. We could talk forever about the movie. How much did you like it? And then we'll talk about your favorite things about it.
Okay. I'm like an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I feel fulfilled. I always feel like there could, in some of the Marvel, I never get my full emotional needs sometimes, or depth and despair, but they did a good job as far as because as we've discussed, these worlds are generically safe. And when the ability to actually push that envelope and say, maybe, let's figure it out, maybe not. The struggle was so important for me to develop a real appreciation of the journey. And, some Marvel movies haven't always done that, but I feel they did a good job, especially having so many characters to take care of, in a sense. I think they were lucky that a lot of people were somewhat dissolved, except in the same aspect, I kind of was disappointed I didn't get to see more of Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be there. It made sense. So the first time I saw it, it was like 7 out of 10 for me. I was like, it's pretty good. And then rewatching it without the expectations, I had a whole other appreciation for it. It was like a 9 out of 10 for me. And I'm a huge critic of these Marvel movies because, like I said, they were too safe, but everything I think worked. Everything, and they tried to do a lot with it. I thought it all worked. And overall, it's like these movies have been like a unique achievement in just cinematic history. But yeah, dude, I really dug it. Some of my favorite moments that work both times, even though I know they were coming. I mean, of course, all the stuff, the three fathers of the movie, Ant-Man, Iron Man, Hawkeye, like the movie's trying to make you cry the entire time. And yet, like, congrats if you didn't get emotional in that movie. You're dead inside. Cool.
I mean, I don't think it was that fucking placated, but it is able to stroke the emotional chords. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like the humor really did well for me. I love fucking Hawk walking around.
I don't want to take the stairs. Like, the humor all landed, and it was well placed. Like, that's a hard thing to balance too. To like have these emotional moments with these characters, and then crack jokes. Like, that is a rhythm. It's like like conducting an orchestra, and they did a good job with that. And my favorite moment, especially the second time around, is when Cap is like down and he gets that call in on his. I guess they all use the same frequency. Like
right.
They have that code saved because like it's been 5 years, and that first like Doctor fucking Strange circle opens, that golden circle, dude. That moment is like one.
I'm confused though. Where the fuck were they?
Well, they brought him back.
Yes,
but they brought him back for that moment. And I know I want to see the scene where they're all like Doctor Strange, like, all right, guys, we got to get there in an hour. But I guess he can just like warp people over to his. He probably warped them all over to his place, opened portals, sucked them in, and was like, all right, here's the game plan. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm a little like, what the fuck? At that point, you obviously don't care because you're just like, hey, yes, and yes, and yes, and you're just like.
That whole battle like fucking really worked for me. I enjoyed it a lot. Even the scene where they put all the women together, that worked.
Yeah, it worked, but I also it really seemed like you just didn't need. What they were fucking doing.
Yeah, I see what you're doing, and we could probably.
And I kind of don't appreciate it, but it's cool anyway.
Yeah, but it's cool anyway. I could try to GPS how they all got there, but hey.
Right, just all of a sudden she has help. Yeah, but there's still 50 fucking dudes there and a whole fucking arm. Why are you? What? It doesn't matter. And by the way, you could just use fucking Captain Marvel. You don't need 6 other. Never mind. My only qualm, I think, is Thanos a little bit, with the extent that how he fought the first time, and then they pretty much defeated him. And he needed the gauntlet to survive, and then he didn't have the gauntlet, and he was almost fucking undefeatable, by everyone throughout the battle. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they snuck attacked him in the first in Infinity War, but in this one, I mean, he's still strong. He's a Titan. He's gone through and just killed planets all by himself.
He just seemed even stronger this time around when they had less people to fight him.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought
that's it.
I thought the combat was pretty good, actually.
It was fucking awesome.
Better combat sequences in those movies because the action's not always that strong. Yeah.
I just felt like when you look at Lady Deathstrike and he's like, I don't even know you, and she fucking picks up giant pieces of ground. At that point, you're just like, I don't even know what's in that red shit, but I think I'm out.
Well, she was about to kill him. That's why he called that Hail Mary.
So for sure.
Yeah, so that is actually an example of how he was a little bit weaker because he plowed through her with the gauntlet in Infinity War. But I barely know what I'm talking about. But as a movie, man, I thought it was really good.
Bettany though.
If somehow you're still listening and you didn't see it, go watch it. Even if you know what happens, you got to see it on a big screen. And if you haven't yet, see it on your best screen because I saw it in the Dolby Theater the second time around, and it was all the much better. Employee pick by me.
Is that shit out in 3D?
Yeah.
You think it's worth seeing in 3D?
I might do that. I might go see it one more time.
Damn, giving all the money to Downey Jr. Support those cokeheads.
I ain't giving them any money. I got a pass. Got a monthly pass.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're on the pass.
So, as our Avengers... Oh, employee pick, by the way?
No. I think it's take it or leave it, Frank.
Wow, you're full of shit.
Yeah, no, it's just, I think it's kind of like one of those things that goes unsaid, doesn't need to be said, but you said it anyway.
We're the 1,317th podcast to recommend this movie. But
Frank actually counted.
Yeah. So that's stuff we watched, and we mostly enjoyed it this week, except for a couple grenades you walked over. Let's talk about what to watch this week's.
Laundry.
This week's. This is from April 22nd all the way to, I don't know, May 4th? Yeah.
Oh, fuck balls.
Over on Netflix, there is a comedy sketch show called I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. It came out last week. It's described on IMDb as, in this new sketch show, Tim Robinson and guests spend each segment driving someone to the point of needing or desperately wanting to leave. He is one half of the cast, or the main cast for The Detroiters, which is a show I caught on Comedy Central, and I really want to watch because every time I've caught scenes of it, it seems fucking hilarious and a very unique, almost like Tim and Eric level, style of comedy. So if you like stuff like that, you like sketch shows, Netflix finally has one that's their own, and it looks really interesting.
Yeah, I did see a trailer for it. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, so hopefully one of us will watch it at least, and we can report back on that one. Now, May 3rd, there's a few things coming out on Netflix, including Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. This chronicles the crime of Ted Bundy from the perspective of his long girlfriend, Elizabeth Clovehitch, who refused to believe the truth about him for years. And this stars Zac Efron as Ted Bundy. So I'm sure you at one point saw the viral marketing for this film. It's actually got some pretty good reviews too. And I'm not a huge true crime guy, but I'm interested in this one.
I like Zac Efron in a murderous role. Fuck yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Also on May 3rd is Toca and Bertie, I believe. I haven't seen anything on IMDb for this, but I saw a press release from Netflix. This is from the creators of BoJack Horseman, and it's two characters on that. It's the story of two 30-year-old bird women who live in the same apartment building. So I'm hoping it's that level of BoJack Horseman, style and substance from a different perspective. And I think that's really cool because I love BoJack, but I think it's kind of winding down and it's running out of things it can do with his character. So
fair enough.
I think a spinoff is very clever and could really work out. Another show on Netflix on May 3rd is Dead to Me in its first season. This is a series about powerful friendship that blossoms between a tightly wound widow, played by Christina Applegate, and a free spirit with a shocking secret, played by Linda Cardellini. And that's why it's on here, because I love these two. Ed Asner's in it as well, James Marsden. But, I need something to binge, and I'm glad to see Christina Applegate.
Really? Because I've given you shows, bitch.
Yeah, I know. But just more
I need something to watch. Yeah. How about the 16 shows I have suggested?
Do they have Christina Applegate in it and Linda Cardellini?
I will fucking Photoshop her ass in there if you'll watch some of that. God damn it.
Okay. So those are all coming or on Netflix now. Hulu. Finally, I will be able to see the Sisters Brothers and hopefully not be
Brothers.
Hopefully not be as underwhelmed as you. I still have hope, but I'm just, you've been right too many times this year where you've said
that's not a good thing.
I know.
I know. I'm supposed to be the wrong one, but
most recently, Destroyer, you were 100% on.
Nice. Sisters Brothers. Just to say again, I just felt like underdeveloped for what they had at their disposal. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have some of the greatest fucking actors in this movie, as far as I'm concerned, and some of the choices didn't make sense for the characters, and they had this great concept that I felt was so underdeveloped, and I just was like, it's already over? Fuck balls, that sucks. So maybe you'll find something different in there, but we'll see. Still emotionally charged, and, those actors don't do any, damage to the movie, so.
Yeah, you got John C. Reilly and Joaquin Phoenix playing an infamous duo of assassins, and
Jake Gyllenhaal's
in there. It's a
homie
really
that
weird
was in Venom.
tone for a Western from the trailer.
Who's that bad dude in Venom?
Yeah, that guy.
That guy.
Also on the Hulu is Border. It's this movie, the story of a customs officer who can smell fear and may be like a werewolf person, develops an unusual attraction to a strange traveler who also looks a lot like her, while aiding a police investigation which will call into question her entire existence. I have talked about this movie enough. I need to just see it. It looks interesting.
Yeah, okay.
And that one's also out now. On May 4th, Hulu gets The Clovehitch Killer, a movie that Josh recommended earlier in the year, and I'm really excited to see.
Fuck balls, yes.
Yeah. It's fuck balls, yes, indeed, about a picture-perfect family being shattered when the work of a serial killer hits too close to home. Dylan McDermott stars in this chilling portrait of an all-American evil.
Also, Christopher Plummer and Madison Beatty fucking kill this movie. It is wunderbar.
Yeah. And a movie that I pimped just as hard as Josh pimps, Clovehitch Killer, is on Amazon Prime. Suspiria is out May 3rd. God, one of my favorite plot summaries to read. A darkness. Go ahead, you do it. You do
at the center of a world-renowned dance company, one that will engulf the artistic director.
I need a drink of water.
An ambitious young dancer and grieving psychotherapist. Some will succumb to the nightmare.
His nightmare. Others will finally wake up.
Let's never tag team a plot summary again. It was fun, but probably not for listeners. Yeah, Suspiria, one of the most ambitious and best movies that came out last year. I fucking love it, and I really hope you guys check it out now that it's on Amazon Prime.
Have you ever seen Spaced with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost?
Oh, yeah, dude. I love it.
Do you remember the scene with him and homeboy Peter Serafinowicz or what have you?
I don't. I have a hazy memory of it, dude.
Okay, but he would be like,
he's like, "Oh, did I?" And he was like, "Yes, I did." And he's like, "Why is your voice that deep?"
No, I mean, it's not that. Yes, I did. And it's just really good at the deep voice joke. You got to go watch that again.
I will watch it again. Yeah, I remember that was like a holy grail to find, and then it was like randomly at Best Buy, and it was like $50 for a season and a half. Sure. and I held
Oh my
on
god,
to
though.
it for a
It's
while.
so fucking good, though.
Yes, if you're a fan of Edgar Wright and or Simon Pegg, see how it all started. Spaced is fucking awesome, and it's probably streaming somewhere. Over on Rental VOD, JT Leroy, which is the fictional account of a story that was inspired a really great documentary, which I'd recommend. But this is about a young woman named Savannah Knopp spends 6 years pretending to be the celebrated author J.T. Leroy, the made-up literary persona of her sister-in-law. And I think the names are slightly changed in this one. I don't know how great this movie is going to be, but I just wanted to bring it up because the documentary, which I believe is J.T. LaRue, was really excellent. And there's an interesting cast to go along with this one, including Kristen Stewart, Laura Dern, Diane Kruger, Jim Sturgis, Courtney Love, who's had some decent roles and stuff before. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Don't you ever fucking be nice to that woman, ever.
People versus Larry Flint, though, she is good.
I don't give a fuck what she was good in. She can go suck more dick.
Well, okay. Josh doesn't like Courtney Love.
It's for you, Kurt.
Also on Rental or VOD is Serenity, the trashiest trash bag of all movies this year, but one you have to see to believe. If somehow you missed the episode where I talked about it, it's Matthew McConaughey.
I talked about it too.
Hathaway.
I just talked about his ass, though.
Yeah, McConaughey ass is something we talked about. But yeah, this movie is ridiculous, and the way the third act is just ridiculous. The twist.
Do you like fishing movies? Hey, do you like Blade Runner?
Dude, just you guys, if you understand what I'm saying, that something is so bad you have to see it. If you've watched Venom or The Room with Tommy Wiseau, just stuff that is so fucking misguided and should not be made, but you have to see it. It might be worth your $5.
No, it's worth $5.
Yeah. In theaters, Avengers Endgame is going to be in theaters
in
for 6
theaters,
months. So
7 fucking years. You can go see it from now until your fucking 18th birthday, you 5-year-old child that's listening to this podcast.
But if you already saw it or superheroes aren't your thing, this Friday, Long Shot is out. It's the Seth Rogen, Charlize Theron movie. Where,
the Fred Flarsky. The name's so stupid you could say it twice. Fred Flarsky.
Yeah. It's basically Knocked Up, but with more adult jobs. But I heard great things about it, and I love everyone involved. So I'm going to check this one out and report back. I'm probably going to see it Thursday, actually, so I'll have it on podcast.
Damn balls.
The fact I'm seeing it Thursday gives me all weekend to check out your boy,
Dennis Quaid.
in The Intruder. I mean, this looks like glorious, glorious trash. It's about a young married couple. They buy this beautiful house on several acres of land, only to find out the man that bought it refuses to let go of the property. Just watch the trailer. It's very entertaining.
Quaidy.
Yeah. I assume you're going to see this one?
Yeah, I'll probably check it out. I'll probably check it out. I don't want, I'm not trying to give away the farm here.
One ticket for Dennis Quaid, please.
Yeah. What's Dennis Quaid? Look, Give it to me. Yeah, I don't know. There's a couple things. There's something else I saw come up called Little Woods with Tessa Thompson that seemed kind of dramatic and interesting and eerie.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I try not to mention too many of the limited releases until they come out on VOD, which is usually shortly after.
My fucking bad.
I just don't want to tease people.
My fucking bad.
But yeah, I love Tessa Thompson. She's in that Brie Larson category where I'm like, I would almost watch anything she's in. Just give it a chance because I'm going to enjoy her inclusion in it.
Yeah, no, I feel that. What else are you going to watch? What else is Frank going to watch? Anything that Josh ever told him to watch?
Yeah, I will watch a episode of The Leftovers.
Dude, I will cry.
I will
cry if you watch the first episode of that and you're like, you know what? This isn't for me. I would love to fucking hear you say that.
Yeah, it's like a dare. I think I'm going to watch the Tim Robinson Show, Sisters, Brothers. I'm going to watch a lot, actually.
Yeah, I've been doing bad because it took me some emotional time to recover from my Capitals failing.
Yeah, I mean, peel behind the curtain. We've both had life adventure. Team sucked it up at the very last moment, and then I'm preparing to move, so we've been busy.
Oh, I also had to play 6 playoff games in the span of a week, which really fucked me up too. So there was a lot. Yeah, it was bad.
Sweet brag there, bro.
It was not a sweet brag. It was a frustrating brag. Although I got to play at the Pepsi Center, which was really fun.
Fuck yeah, dude. I don't know what that means, but I'm.
It's the place where the Colorado Avalanche play.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
I got to play on their ice.
Hell yeah, man! Is that because they aren't in the playoffs?
No, it's just because they still have the ice, and our rec league does shit like that for our playoffs sometimes.
That's fucking awesome, man. We get to play in like, yeah.
Yeah, we get to go in the NBA away locker rooms, which is like to see how tall the showers are is hilarious.
So, all right, man. So I hope you get another tall shower sometime soon, and
I never will because I'm short.
and I can't wait to do this again with you next week. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Bye.
Back, man.
Bye, Felicia.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.